Well, Scott, listen, ye of little faith. At the end of our last episode, I very, very distinctly remember you having a prediction that, well,
I did.
Little egg on your face this week. Thankfully for all of the
Yep.
Bucs fans. And you know what? I promised I would give her at the top of the show her flowers. Congratulations, Aileen. You
I want
predicted
real flowers too, Garrett, please. Thank you.
Real flowers too,
Roses.
absolutely.
I like
You know,
roses.
we're going to
There we
talk about your head-to-head records. Now we're going to have to start keeping track.
Ooh.
All that and
Okay.
more coming up on this episode of Bucs Bonus.
Live from the Stream Center in Tampa, Florida, the home of News Channel 8, your official Bucs station. This is Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now.
Welcome into the Stream Center here. WFLA, of course, your official Bucs station. I'm your host, Garrett Phillips. As is every week, I have Aileen Hnatiuk, our Bucs insider, and of course, joining us as he is like to do, Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report, who, listen, I'm not going to say one of the three of us didn't have any faith in Tampa Bay going across the country and pulling out a, might I say, maybe the win of the season right now for not just the Bucs, but all of the NFL. What a great game that they had on Sunday.
Yeah, it was a big win because it was an NFC team that's rising up just like Tampa Bay. And the Seahawks are no joke. And we saw that at the final score, 38-35. It was fun to see Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold kind of go toe-to-toe and throw for throw. And it's Jackson Smith and Jigba versus his former Ohio State teammate, Emeka Egbuka. That was quite the showdown and shootout out west, Aileen.
Yeah, listen, we went into this game knowing that the Seahawks were hot, right? On a 3-game win streak. The Bucs just came off a disappointing loss to the Eagles, and we knew, the Bucs wanted redemption. And luckily they got it. And I think they did a really good job of following their game plan, especially in the first half, right? Scoring, early. Defense didn't allow any points until really the end of, seconds remaining in the second quarter. But it was such a fun game to watch. I will, again, we'll say it. We keep saying it every week. The Buccaneers are the most exciting game to watch, or exciting team to watch in the NFL. So, yeah, I mean, love that they won. Don't love that. I think my blood pressure is through the roof watching these games every single time.
They're keeping cardiologists in Tampa Bay in business for sure.
Yeah, I was going to try not to mention it because I think I've mentioned it every week, basically, at this point.
It's the truth. We're over here sweating.
It really is. And you know what? The thing about it is, I grew up in, I don't want to say the worst era of Buccaneers football, because obviously the beginning was quite rough. But I grew up in a
second to worst,
really tough stretch of Buccaneers football where I got all the post-Gruden stuff, the Youngry Bucks, the Lovie Smiths, the Greg
The
Schianos.
decade of darkness, as I call it.
The decade of darkness is a perfect way to describe that. And so I had been trained really from most of my life to just assume the Bucs were going to find a way to mess something up. And as I'm watching this fourth quarter and these teams are going blow for blow, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is just, whether it be, I think the Bucs punted one time and they punted and I said, well, they're never going to get a stop, so this game is over. Or at the end of the game, after we score maybe a little too early in some people's minds. And I'm thinking, well, we haven't been able to stop them all half. They're going to drive down and win this game on a last-second touchdown a la Bucs style. Yeah. Then the Levante David interception happens. And you can ask my little group chat of Bucs fans. They say, I'm a bit of a pessimist. And I certainly was as I was watching the end of that game. But it feels like a different era.
It is, because Baker's making us all believers. I'm getting to the point where I just assume they're going to win. I mean, I felt that way at the Eagles game. They just couldn't chase. They were chasing that blocked punt for a touchdown the entire game. They almost caught up, but they just couldn't. But really, ever since the Houston game in week 2, I've just kind of assumed, like, all right, this is who they're going to be this year. There's the cardiac kids, the comeback captain, Baker Mayfield, is going to get the job done. And so far he has. I mean, 4 wins have come in this style of play. And Aileen, it was a stark contrast to last year when the Buccaneers would lose so many of these close games. They would lose in overtime in Atlanta, lose in overtime in Kansas City. Even the 49ers game last year, we're going to talk about the 49ers game coming up this weekend, but that game was 20-20. All they had to do was get a stop, right, and get the ball back. They couldn't. And it turned out to be a 49ers win with a walk-off field goal, 23-20, at Raymond James Stadium last year. But this year, it's a completely different
game for Chase McLaughlin this game. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. It's a completely different story.
You want to know why they won, guys? I'll tell you why they won. Because of that Seahawks fan at the beginning of the game. I know you guys saw it on social media. And it was that fan, pissed off Baker Mayfield. He poked the bear, not once but twice. And you saw Charlie Heck and Tristan Wirfs smiling, eyes gleaming. You just unleashed a monster, bud. So.
I think that's my favorite part of that clip. For anyone who hasn't seen it, there is a clip of the Bucs in the tunnel right before the game starts, and a fan who is taking this video is jawing back and forth with Baker, saying something like "you suck," all what you would expect from a rival team. And my favorite part about that clip is exactly what you just said. It's Graham Barton, it's Charlie Heck, it's all of the offensive linemen. You were thinking, right, in most teams, if your quarterback is being attacked by anybody, a football player on the field, a fan, the offensive linemen are coming to protect him. But these guys are laughing about this because they know Baker doesn't really need that kind of protection.
That's right.
And you're right. Baker has, I think, maybe the best ability of anyone in the league to play with a giant chip on their shoulder and to make it really. I mean, we saw Stephon Diggs, right, in that Monday night game with the Patriots and the Bills. Really, he kind of felt like he had a chip on his shoulder with the Bills having obviously let him go. Baker plays like that no matter what team he's facing. It doesn't matter if he played for the Seahawks. He's going to play as if the coach is the one that cut him in, I don't know, high school. Like, he's just got that mentality. And rightfully so, it is leading to a lot. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but in a couple of past days that we have had since this game, I've heard a lot of people in the national media talking about not only is Baker Mayfield playing at his best, he's playing at an MVP level. And I mean, it's hard to argue.
Well, you know what? I have to say to that, you're late to the party, pal. I mean, it's like we've been saying this really kind of since week 2, right? I mean, he's just feeling it this
going
year.
Into season, during training camp.
Yeah, and what I like about it is the 10 touchdowns. That's great, right? That's 2 per game, but only 1 interception. That's huge. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to Baker during training camp, and I was trying to prop him up a little bit. Not that he needs it, right? But I was saying, Baker, you had a record season in this offense last year: 41 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, 71% completion percentage. Now you're heading into year 2 in this kind of same system. I know Josh is going to tweak some things offensively, but same cast of characters, offensive line, targets to throw to, etc. How good does this feel to have this level of comfortability? And the first words out of his mouth was, I got to cut down the interceptions. Like, he wasn't even hearing the positive stuff.
Right.
It was, I got to drill down and stop the interceptions. I got to stop hurting us. And I'm like, wow, man, that's incredible self-awareness, Aileen. And you know what? He's done that so far. The 1 interception was bad Baker against the Eagles, but he had to play turnover free up in Seattle. We talked about them needing to becoming the ball hawkineers last week, and they were. They won the turnover battle 2-0. It was huge.
Yeah, genuinely, I thinking about his mindset, when we're listening to him every single week and every single interview that we have with him, I don't even think he cares about his stats. I really don't even think he cares about the MVP, this and that. Like, I genuinely believe he just wants to go 1-0 each week.
Yeah.
And I think that is what has made them and him successful so far.
Right. Obviously, helping him be successful is, the emergent play of guys like Emeka Egbuka. I want to bring him up every week, but at the same time, it almost starts to feel like I'm getting repetitive.
We have to. This week, he was a hometown hero, and his hometown got to stunt in front of the family and friends, and of course, everybody was required to wear a Bucs jersey, right? By his mother. That was the rule. So yeah, we have to talk about him this week.
I mean, of course we do, but it's becoming the same story every week. I mean, you talk about how many times can we go, into one of these shows and say, I can't believe this guy's a rookie. At this point, you just have to start believing it. Like, he is, not only is he, I think, by far the best rookie receiver this year, not only is he maybe the best rookie period this year, he might even just be the best receiver on this team. Like, even with guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, he's doing things that you would never have expected from this kind of guy, from anyone really coming out their first year.
He is playing like a veteran. He's playing like a guy that's been to Pro Bowls before, not a guy that's going to be entering his 6th NFL game. It's stunning. I've never seen anything like it. I don't want to repeat myself every week, but here's the Cliff Notes version. He's better than Mike Evans was as a rookie in 2014. He's better than Chris Godwin was as a rookie in 2017. Those are the 2 best players in franchise history. And he's better than either one of those guys right now. Now, is he going to ascend to a level of Mike Evans or Chris Godwin? I don't know. Time will tell. But holy smokes, is he off to a great start.
It's incredible. And he's helping, obviously, Baker have the kind of year he's having. Before we move completely off of the offense and we go to our next segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about the defense. I want to just point out something that I saw earlier today. Since 2023, 2 quarterbacks lead the league in offensive touchdowns. It's Jared Goff, and then you want to guess? Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, 79 touchdowns each. That's more than Lamar Jackson. That's more than Josh Allen. That's more than Patrick Mahomes. It's more than all of the guys that you consider elite playmakers at that position. And I mean, the way, as you mentioned, Scott, he's cutting down the interceptions, the way he's playing, and the way that Emeka Egbuka is playing. I almost don't, when we first started with the season, all these injuries, I was like getting ready to make excuses. Now I'm almost like, well, if you don't win, even with all these guys out, now I feel disappointed. And so that is a huge step forward for where this team was last year and where I hope that this takes them to the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Aileen, when you look at Baker Mayfield, he's not just putting up points, he's putting up style points, right? We're in the era of social media here. And you talk about the MVP honors, Garrett. What's helping him is all of these clips are going viral, right?
Yes.
The clip of him and the fans, the touchdown pass to Emeka Egbuka on the money,
on a rope,
the go-ahead score,
my gosh.
To Sterling Shepard. The way he's playing, the style of which he's playing, it's endearing him to the highlight reel, and that's just only going to elevate his popularity, the media narratives, the popularity of this Buccaneer team. It's nothing but positive vibes right now by Baker Mayfield.
And the offense came on, I think, right at the right time because really the first 4 weeks, especially the first 3 weeks, the defense really carried a lot of this team. And we saw some injuries happen. We've seen now they had a rough second half, right, against the Seahawks. But we're going to get a little bit more into that. And we're going to talk about why, they might be able to, going forward, correct some of those mistakes right after this. Welcome back into the Stream Center here, Bucs Bonus with Aileen Hnatiuk and Scott Reynolds of Pewter Report. I'm Garrett Phillips, and we were talking right before the break there about the offense. We said we're going to get into the defense a little bit, but I know, Aileen, I think you had a Emeka Egbuka stat.
He had an octopus.
He had an octopus. Great.
Yeah.
I want you to explain. I know what that means, obviously, right? But I want you to explain to the listeners what that means. Don't ask me. Go ahead.
I'm kind of curious. What's your
answer? I insist. Please tell our
Scott,
listeners.
you go.
I know what it is. Go ahead and say it, Aileen.
An octopus is an animal that lives in the ocean.
That is true.
A tutty and a 2-point conversion, baby.
That's right. 6 + 2 is 8.
Makes sense. See, why did I not know
8
that?
Arms.
Okay, and you know what? Now that I think about it, the Bucs shared out their go off rook graphic, and it had the little octopus in there. I thought it was his favorite animal or something.
I thought it was a new zodiac sign. I was like, I've never seen an octopus zodiac sign.
Yeah.
And when I talked to Coach Bowles on Monday in our Bucs with Bowles interview, which you guys can watch online at WFLA.com, I said it just like that. I was talking about Emeka and him being back in his hometown, 7 catches for 163 yards, a touchdown, blah, 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 blah. And I go, how great was that to see? Did you know he had an octopus? And he was like, what? And I'm like...
Oh, you stumped Coach Bowles.
No, I would.
Wow.
I got to send you this clip, Scott. This is hilarious. I really should post this on social media. And I was like, an octopus, This is what I learned, Coach. It's like, Coach, how do you not know what this is? A touchdown and a 2-point conversion. And he was like, no, I know what that is, but I thought you meant an actual octopus. Like there was some stuffed animal octopus, because I guess the way I said it was, I don't even know, but it was the funniest thing ever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Just explain what an octopus is to an NFL head coach. Aileen, what are you doing?
Well, listen, I'm very happy that he got to have the octopus on.
It was hilarious.
On game day, because it helped to propel the Bucs over the Seahawks in a game where I think we could probably say the defense didn't have their best day, right? The second half especially. They led up, 5 touchdown drives?
Yeah.
Basically back-to-back, kind of a rough start for them. Is there something other than the injuries, right? Jamel Dean and Benjamin Morrison obviously not playing in this game. Other than the injuries, was there something about how the defense approached the Seahawks that led to that type of success for Seattle? Or is it just, a bad day against a good offense?
I think it was 2 things. Number one, because you had Jacob Parrish, a rookie, playing outside corner for the first time, and Kendall Vildor also coming in and playing as well. He was inactive for the first couple of weeks. I don't think Todd Bowles wanted to do a lot of blitzing in this game. And when you blitz, you're leaving your cornerbacks typically on one-on-one situations without much safety help over the top. And I don't think Todd wanted to do that and risk a big play down the field on either Parrish or on Vildor. So he saved those blitzes for the end of the game. We saw the effectiveness of Antoine Winfield Jr. pressuring Sam Darnold and then getting that pass picked off by Levante David. That was the right time for that blitz for sure. But I think the other thing is I was concerned about the lack of pressure from the front four. Yaya Diaby had an opportunity for a pick six. He let it go through his hands. He and Hassan Reddick had a chance to stop and sack Sam Darnold on 4th down, and they didn't do that. So I was very concerned about the lack of pass rush. No sacks for Tampa Bay, Aileen. That's got to change moving forward. This team's got to be better with their 4-man pressure, and hopefully we see the home crowd helping the Buccaneers pass rush out a little bit against San Francisco on Sunday.
Well, they did have an interception. I'll be the positive penny over here. Levante David, right? Getting that lone interception. But yeah, no, you're right. And tackling too. The defense for the Bucs at 63 and then Seahawks at 71. But yeah, it was kind of unfortunate to see how the defense played in the second half. But yeah, they still won. Whatever. Win is a win.
Okay, so if the secondary injuries, right, are the reason the pressure wasn't being able to be dialed up quite as often, I think that just gives us an opportunity here to talk about where Tampa Bay is in terms of their injury situation. Now, Jamel Dean, Benjamin Morrison, both were out last game. We obviously know that Bucky Irving, Mike Evans not currently playing. Luke Gedeke is currently on IR. Are they expecting any of these guys to possibly be able to play this coming week? Or is it, I know for a guy like Mike, right, he's probably a little bit farther out.
Yeah.
But what about Bucky? What about Jamel Dean? What about Benjamin Morrison? Are these injuries that are going to keep them off longer, or could they possibly get some relief here against San Francisco?
Maybe Jamel comes back with that hip injury. It just kind of depends on how he's feeling and if that hip kind of tightens up or locks up a little bit. I'd say that maybe there's a chance there. With Benjamin Morrison, he's been dealing with the hamstring injury kind of like all year. It's kind of been on and off. If you remember, he was not able to finish the last day of the mandatory minicamp with a hamstring. Then he gets into training camp, is doing okay. Then he pulls the hamstring there, missed the entire preseason, missed really 4 weeks of practice, a whole month of camp. And then was okay, and then we saw him, and he was playing well, and then he had the hamstring again. So I'm not sure if he's going to be available this week. I don't know if Bucky Irving's going to be back either. He's got a shoulder and a foot injury.
Well, he's supposed to be out, right? He's supposed to be out for the 49ers game.
Yeah. He's a tough guy. But if I'm Todd Bowles, I'm saying, man, listen, we got to win in Seattle with Rashad, with Sean Tucker. We have Josh Williams. Let's just rest you here for another game, right? Because you get the Lions game on Monday night. You'll have an extra day of rest before that game, Aileen. And then you've got a stretch here where the season's not over. Even if you beat the 49ers and beat the Lions, you can't just shake your hands and say, we're good, we're done. No, you've got more than 10 games left in the season. So it's a long season. You need Bucky for the long haul. I would make sure that you rest him. I think the target date for a lot of these guys coming back is the Lions game. I think you'll see Mike and Bucky back. I believe Luke Gedeke will come off injured reserve for that game against the Lions. So to me, that's probably the game where most of the cavalry's coming.
And I'll bring up this, you talking about the injuries, but with Rashad White, I think a lot of people subconsciously, viewers, fans, whatever, were kind of like, oh, crap. Like, no Bucky Irving. What are we going to do when it comes to running the ball? Which I think people forget Rashad White is pretty good at his job, right? I think
yeah.
coach said we don't have a really like a starting running back, a bell cow. It's 1A and 1B. You know, he has a lot of faith in Rashad White, and look at what Rashad White did against the Seahawks. I mean, really, he was a huge part of their win. Let's look at what did he have? What did he have?
2 touchdowns.
He had go ahead. 14 carries for 41 yards. I don't know why it felt like he had more, but I feel like that just means he had a really big impact on the game. So good for him. But I agree, Scott. Like, rest your guys, especially Bucky, for when they have that Monday Night Football game against the Lions and
against the Lions, maybe the toughest game left on your season.
I know,
right?
It might be.
I know, but in the NFL, if they're ready, they're going to go, and these guys don't want to rest. You think Bucky wants to rest? Absolutely not. So maybe they're telling the trainers, "Hey, I'm good. Like, let's go." Because they want to play. Like, they're making a lot of money, but these guys are competitors. They're athletes. They want to be on the field, but hopefully, like you said, Scott, they play this smart and he doesn't get set back.
Right. So the banged up Bucs, they're going to face off against a equally banged up, maybe even more so, San Francisco 49ers team. We're going to talk about that. We're going to get your picks in right after this break. Welcome back into the Stream Center.
Scott making jokes.
Aileen and Scott making jokes in the middle of our little commercial break. That's perfectly fine. Hey, guys, listen. We got a big game against the 49ers. They're at home. They've lost to the 49ers 3 seasons in a row. I have a real question. I have a real question for you, Scott, and for you, Aileen. The way that the 49ers have been playing, right? They're 4-1.
Yep. But
they're 4-0 when Brock Purdy really isn't playing, right? So I have a question for you guys. If you're Todd Bowles and you're the Bucs, would you rather see Brock Purdy or would you rather see Mac Jones, who is currently undefeated for the 49ers this season?
That's a good question because Brock Purdy's given Todd Bowles some heartburn. I mean, he's 3-0 against Todd Bowles. But at the same time, maybe you want to disrupt a little bit of that 49ers mojo. If it's working with Mac Jones, right? It's kind of hard to try to fix what's not broken.
Right.
I'm not sure what San Francisco is going to do. Todd Bowles said the correct answer, which is we're going to prepare for the Kyle Shanahan system.
Yes.
And they'll watch some film on both guys because both guys like to do some different things. But what I like about this overall is this is a battle of banged up teams for sure. But if you look at the mindset here, back in 2022, the 49ers blew out the Buccaneers 35-7, Tom Brady's final year with the team out there in San Fran. The next year, Baker Mayfield comes in. It's closer, 24-17, or 27-14. Closer game there. Last year, even closer, guys. 23-20. 49ers barely beat a Buccaneer team that didn't have Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. I think this is the time Tampa Bay rises up. They've had this game circled on their calendar for a long time. They're tired of losing the 49ers. I think they get the job done in a close game, but a game that's decided in Tampa Bay's favor because that's what they do. They win games in close fashion. All
right, Scott Reynolds obviously picked against the Bucs last week. This week, though, he's got the Bucs in the win column. Right. Let's hope that you're right this week, Scott. Aileen, I'm going to assume that I already know where you're going.
I'm going 49ers losing.
Really?
I mean, 49ers losing, Bucs win, and I want to see Mac Jones.
Okay, want to see Mac Jones. There it is. Listen, Scott, thank you so much again, as always, from Pewter Report for joining us. Give you a lot of last little moment here. What should everybody be checking out for you?
Yeah, check out our content on pewterreport.com, our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. We have podcasts 4 days a week, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and, of course, the postgame podcast as well. So you can check that out. Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, or pewterreport.com, our website.
Best in the biz.
Best in the biz. Love having you on. Scott, thank you, of course, for joining us. We'll see you guys next week for our next episode of Bucs Bonus, hopefully for the 5-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into a very important game in Detroit. We'll see you then.